Their profits have been massive. In many cases, their tax bills minimal. You'll recognise the company names. There's Google, Amazon, Starbucks. There are plenty others, and soon those companies may have to pay more. G20 finance ministers meeting in Moscow have agreed that coordinated action is needed to make sure firms pay their fair share by stopping them moving their profits around the world.
G20 finance ministers arriving in Moscow have set themselves an ambitious agenda, rewriting global tax laws first introduced nearly a century ago, an attempt to tackle so-called profit shifting by big multinationals. Leading the call for reform, Britain's Finance Minister George Osborne angered at UK tax avoidance by companies like Google, Facebook and Amazon, shifting profits to countries where tax rates are lowest.
We all want international businesses located in our countries and doing business in our countries and employing people in our countries, and certainly Britain wants to have one of the most competitive tax systems in the world, but we do want businesses to pay the taxes that we set in our countries, and that cannot be achieved by one country alone.
There were demonstrations outside Starbucks in London when it was revealed that the coffee giant paid just $13 million corporation tax in 14 years trading in the UK. In 1 year, in 2011, Starbucks had UK sales of $620 million. And in the US, Facebook paid no corporate tax, despite recording profits of over $1 billion.
For the most part, the companies that are being referred to here are not breaking the law. They're avoiding paying tax through what are sometimes known as legal loopholes, rather than evading it. And it means that using accounting mechanisms, they can move where their profits are recorded around the world in different tax jurisdictions, and thereby avoiding paying as much tax as perhaps they would have been had they been based solely in a particular country.
France and the US will chair a committee looking at how to tell where tax should be paid in an era where online trade throws up difficult questions.
We must ensure that this new form of business also, just say the same thing as my colleagues, pays its fair share. And therefore we must avoid situations in which some companies use international and domestic law to be taxed nowhere or risk to be taxed everywhere.
The G20's communiqué also said members would avoid devaluing their currencies to gain an economic advantage. Recent policies put in place by Japan to weaken the yen have raised fears of a so-called currency war if other nations try to do the same.